Thank you very much. Before we begin, Zeal, somebody sent me to you. So she saw the flyer. I said, this guy is cute. I said, yes, but he's married. She said, it doesn't matter. Tell him. So I've delivered a message in case she's watching what she sees. All right, let's get started. When you bring a mental health and life coach to discuss with financial expert, I don't know what Stephanie was trying to do to me, but I'll try my best. I'll start from you, Zeal. I try to listen to you once in a while, and when you're talking all these financial things and all of that, and we're talking about financial resilience, can you share with us what are some key indicators when it comes to financial resilience? As simple as something that we can run with and practice outside of here.
Well, thank you very much. I'll respond to the lady offline. First of all, let's talk about what resilience is. I like the example that was given that about the elastic band. Resilience is not just the ability to expand or to change form; it's the ability to go back to the original form. That's the very important part. To go back, and we're in January, we're ending January. I'm pretty sure that all through December, those of us in Lagos, if anybody tried to sell us an umbrella, we would have driven the person away because we're 100% sure there's not going to be rain. Okay? Now, when rain starts, have you ever seen any hawker selling umbrellas under the rain? Nobody buys an umbrella when they are under the rain. So when it's not raining, we don't buy umbrella because we don't need it. When it's raining, we don't buy umbrella because we're already wet. Financial resilience is about the ability to understand the times. You don't prepare for disaster when disaster has arrived. You prepare for it when everything seems okay. So I noticed the last panel did a lot of Bible examples. I'll use two. Noah did not build an ark when rain started falling. And Joseph did not build barns of grain when there was a scarcity. Financial resilience is about knowing the times and being able to do two things. One, plan for the future by setting aside what will keep you if things go bad. Second is more important, and that's the resilience part. The ability to, by yourself, take yourself into a position of distress, to test yourself, to understand where your gaps are. And I'll give one small example. There was a time I was very broke. People don't always believe it when I say it. But there was a time I was very broke, where the last money I had was about 140,000 naira. That was the last money I had. Yes.
There are levels to this thing.
I'll get there. And then what I decided to do, that money was less than my children's school fees. So to put it in perspective, that money was roughly, my rent was 3 million a year. Okay? Just to put it in perspective. Yeah. So what did I do with that? I realized that that money couldn't really do much for me. And so what I then did was it's a very long story. I'll cut all the stories short. I had to use 85,000 of that to pay for somebody's MRI. Right? And my friends thought I was crazy. So I spent all the money doing stuff for other people. Because I said to myself, if I have nothing, what will I become? And do I still do it now? To a large extent, yes. But not with money. I take myself to a place of desperation deliberately, because that's the test of resilience. You stretch and see, will I come back? You put yourself in a very uncomfortable position, because again, another example will be when you look at a marathon runner in the Olympics or World Cup, whatever. That marathon they are running, it's not the first time they are running it. They've run it, they've been wounded, they've gone to hospital, they've come out, they've run it again. They've done it so many times that when it's time to do it for real, they don't feel it. That's what financial resilience is. If you wait for the circumstances to take you there where you have no choice, then you're not going to find out what you really do. So you need to find a way to put yourself in a position where you are forced to see your real self, your real behavior. Put yourself in a corner to allow yourself to grow a bit.
Thank you very much. Please put your hands together for him. So I forgot to give us the rules for engagement for this panel session. You know, when you are the moderator, the power lies with you. So I can do and undo. So while I'm here, if they see anything that is hitting them, just like, you know, let's not form like we are serious, you know, none of that. If it's hitting, you can say, preach, hit it, you know. And Shola, Toyin rather, how are you? How are you feeling?
Very well.
How is the weather?
Cool.
Cool. I like that. I like that. So my question to you is, how can people shift their mindset to build financial resilience, and even when it doesn't seem like the income is incoming? You know those periods when he said it was broke the other time, some of you were angry, like 140K broke. But when he told you the expenses, you agreed that okay, he's actually broke, right? Sometimes the income is not incoming. So how can people build financial resilience in spite of the income?
Thank you so much. And I'll start with my story, just to give some perspective. I recall growing up then, when I was in the university, we had financial difficulties. And I mean, it was really tough, even paying the school fees. I was courting with some people at that point in time. And I recall, even in the fellowship, I was a sister coordinator. And you know, when you're a sister coordinator, you have programs, you have to wear clothes.
Hallelujah, somebody.
Amen. So at that point in time, you know, you have to understand who you are, your peculiar situation, and don't compare yourself with others. I knew where I was coming from. I knew what we had at home. So I recall then that I told my friends that I will wear what I have. I have friends that, you know, they go home, they collect their friends' clothes and wear. I wore the same Iran Buba then for 3 or 4 consecutive times because I knew where I was coming from. So financial resilience is not a question of where you're starting from or what you're earning. You need to understand your level. There's somebody that used to say, take your level when it comes to just giving. Some people can give 5,000, some can give 20,000, some can even give 500,000 or 1 million. But what is important is giving. What is important is living, and living within your means. You're earning 100,000 naira, you're eating out every day. How are you going to sustain that? You're earning 100,000 naira, you want to live on the island. Is that even possible? Is it? Just tell me where you will be living. So you need
or close to the incoming Lagos airport.
The resilience and even the mental health. You are living in Awoyaya. Before you get to your office, I'm sure you are tired. It will affect your productivity, if I can just address that immediately. And when your productivity is affected, how are you going to deliver? It affects your long-term value that you can bring. So just addressing that on the side. But, you know, being resilient means that you understand you have to have a meeting with yourself. How much are you earning? How much is your expenses? And it will get to a point that you can't even manage beyond the expenses that you have. You need to increase your stream of income, because at some point that take home cannot even get you anywhere. So that is the time when you now need to start building additional skills. I recall in 2020, I was not in paid employment. What happened at that point in time? I had to, as an accountant, I had to learn digital marketing. I learned how to do Canva. I learned a lot of things. I started teaching online. And it was at that point that I was able to build other skills. I started my speaking engagement, teaching, facilitating, even for banks at that point in time. It was a pivotal point in my life. And, to what the other speakers said, that at that point of difficulty, you are going to pivot. There are opportunities that are hidden. Unless you have problems, you won't start thinking outside the box. You won't start thinking of alternatives. That was a pivotal point in my life. Throughout that year, I did not earn any salary. And to the point that you can't prepare for the rain when it is already raining. I had savings that have been building up, living within my means, even the school fees of the children, we could pay it with 1 month salary, even though we can afford, some schools, but we decided not to. Because at some point, your income should be, the gap between your income should be as high as much as possible, so that if there's any issue, if there's any emergency, if there's any problem, then you'll be able, to match up. And speaking to what was said earlier in terms of the index, how comfortable are you? Are you able to maintain your lifestyle within 3 or 4 months? Those are some of the tests. What is your job security? What is your credit worthiness? What are the skills that you're building to elevate yourself out of the state that you are? So let me stop there.
Thank you very much, Ma. I think that deserved some round of applause. Please, can you give me Auntie Shola?
Good. Good morning. Good afternoon. I don't even know what time it is, but I'm happy to be here. All
I
right.
thought
Good
you would be here
afternoon.
for me to touch the hem of your garments, but you're
Oh,
not.
well, there's no distance in the spirit, as it were.
You do catch that. So, question to you quickly is for entrepreneurs, right? What key financial habits separate those who thrive from those who struggle in certain times?
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much. And well done to my co-panelists. Fortunately and unfortunately, I'm not able to be there physically. But like I said, there's no distance in the spirit. And yeah, the conversation, it's going to be beautiful already. When we talk about resilience, when we talk about things that differentiate those who succeed from those who do not succeed. By the way, I don't think that there's anybody who doesn't succeed, because success is relative. What I would say is that part time, we're all on a journey. And what the amount of knowledge, the amount of insight, your perspective to life is what will determine the kind of results and the level of results that you would get. So for those who are currently in business who think they are not succeeding, you are succeeding. You are just probably in your learning phase. But back to the question, I would say 4 things. Number 1, I wanted to use the acronym RISE, but let me see if I can still pull that out. I think that the 4th thing is understanding the word resilience itself. You see, the ability to adapt. What we don't know as individuals and as business owners is that there are a lot more things outside of our control than the things within our control. I believe a lot of people who are watching this are in Nigeria. I'm in Nigeria and I live in Nigeria, so I'm just out of the country. When we started 2024, when did our new president start? Maybe 2023. If anybody had told us that the amount of dollar would have gone up to certain amount, that the amount of fuel would have gone up to certain amount, we would have argued. Now, those economic factors, we did not have control over them. Nobody consulted us to say, okay, business owners, let us look at the economy. What do you think we should do? We just woke up and fuel pump price had gone up. FX price had gone up, FX rate had gone up. So what am I saying? As business owners, if you want to succeed, you must realize that there are more things outside of your control than the things within your control. I'm saying that so that we don't beat ourselves unnecessarily. You look at yourself, you'll be like, I've been in business for 5 years, I've been in business for 10 years, I'm not succeeding. My life is this, my life is not that. No, pat yourself on the back. Sometimes cut yourself some slack. Now, the next thing is that how do you get more things within your control? So I'm using the acronym RISE to quickly explain this. First thing is resilience, being able to adapt to change and being able to, just say that in spite of the things outside of my control, I am going to keep going. So that's resilience. The second thing is insight and information will keep you afloat, will make you different. It will make you look like you are doing something that others don't know. For example, it's still early in the year. I kept telling people since November of last year that the money pie for this year has been shared already. So if you have not sort of gotten an idea of where you're going in 2025 with your business, you are late to the table. But again, even if the pies have been shared, you can still get a slice from the hands of the people who have the pies. Information, knowledge, insights. What is happening in my industry? This is not a time where you're watching the TV and then somebody is talking about financial something or the economy. Put it on Zeal. What's my business? I don't like maths. It's not my. No, it is your business. This is not a time to be flipping channel from economic news to Zeal World and African magic. If you want to succeed, you must embrace insight and information. Quickly, the next one is strategy. So the first one is resilience, understanding the things within and outside of your control and just having the right mindset to keep going. The I is information. The S is strategy. Now, it is not enough to know. Many of us, we have been going from webinars to seminars to conferences. We've been hearing these things, but we are not actioning them. So strategy. What is my sector? What kind of things am I supposed to be doing? Some of us don't really understand finance because somebody in another sector is borrowing money. Their liquidity and their operating capital cycle is lower. They're able to borrow money and return it. In your own sector, it doesn't like that. You go to borrow money and then you're in debt. No profit, no capital, and then there's stress. So strategy per sector, per industry, per person differs, and you must understand that. And I think the final one is engagement. The people who succeed collaborate, right? They are not, I go alone. Yes, you can go alone to go fast, but if you want to go far, you need to work. This is not an age where you say, no, competition. Or this person does not know what I am. There's nothing you are doing that is absolutely new under the earth. Everybody is just reinventing. So I get it. Some people will steal your ideas, but there are some people who truly, truly elevate your results. So you must learn to collaborate. Toyin Aralepo, my very lovely sister, is a chartered accountant just as I am. The amount of things we do together. Last week we were on the phone for almost an hour, just saying, what are we doing? Right? So business owners, don't be hoarding information. As you are keeping information, you are restricting the flow of information to yourself. So I hope with these few opening points of mine, I'm able to convince you that you can rise as a business owner with those 4 principles.
Thank you very much. Please add me to the next call. I want to make money too. All right. So this last question is for the three of you. And it's a question that is, I think it's very important. I think it's a good way to wrap up this panel session. How do you suggest managing emotional and mental resilience when faced with financial setbacks? Because whether we like it or not, in my industry, we do say that mental health or how you feel internally, your emotional health guides every other thing that you do. Your ability to even get up to say you want to go out to look for your daily bread, there has to be that willingness to even get out of bed in the first place. And it starts from your head, your mind, and all of that. So in quick seconds and minutes, I'll start from, let me start from Auntie Sola. So the question again is, what would you suggest when it comes to managing emotions and mental resilience when people face financial setbacks? We can't hear you.
Thank you. Very quickly, in the world of personal finance, as much as it has to do with money, we tell people that there are four things to consider: the mindset, the knowledge set, the tool set, and the skill set. But the most important one out of all of these four is the mindset. Listen, you are all you have got to succeed. Whatever it takes, you must guard and guide that mind. You must invest in that mind. The people you associate with, what you watch, you never say, T-Pain, there's no money in Nigeria. Oh. If it is the same set of people you continue to work with, those are the results you will continue to get. So we cannot underestimate the power of the mind in achieving solid financial results in your business or on a personal note, because there's no time. I will just say whatever it is to take, whatever it will take for you to invest in your mindset, please do so. Be careful of what you watch, the news you're watching, the people you're associating with, the books that you read, the experiences that you curate for yourself. Because without the right mindset, every other thing is trying to do. And they say that life is about being, doing, and having. You become it, you do it, and then you have it. So please, of course, there's no time to talk about all of these things. Watch what is going into your mind and invest in it. I hope that helps.
Very
Thank you.
much. Auntie Toyin, quickly.
Okay, so what I'll suggest is feel your feelings, be gentle on yourself, and surround yourself with people that can encourage you. Live within your means. Just have a long-term picture. Have your vision. Where do you want to get to? Because when you know where you're going, it is like an anchor. When you keep seeing where you want to get to, it gives you encouragement. It encourages your heart. And know that whatever you're going through is not permanent. This time shall pass away. I just want to encourage everyone, just be gentle on yourself. Celebrate your small wins, no matter how small. Occasionally tap yourself at the back and encourage yourself. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Zeal.
This is one question I don't know how to answer quickly. But I think it's a lot of things put together, and I'll try to summarize all of them. One of them is, in terms of resilience, it's important to understand that there is no destination. A lot of us are looking for shortcuts to get somewhere. We're not going anywhere. The journey is the destination. And so you need to understand that we're not going somewhere. You're not trying to get, if you speak to anybody that has arrived, you're going to find that they've arrived at one bus stop and they've left it and they're going somewhere else. It's a journey. So enjoy the journey. Understand that the journey is a learning process. There's nothing like failing. There's an experience that you have encountered. You learn from that experience, whether it is good, whether it is bad, you learn from it and you move on to the next. Number two, you have to understand contentment. Contentment is often misunderstood for a lack of ambition. It's not. Contentment is about being satisfied with where you are on the journey. It's a journey. I know I'm moving, but I know I'm here right now. I'm satisfied with the distance I've covered and I'm resting, and then I will continue. So contentment is not a lack of ambition. It's an understanding of where you're going, the pathway to get there, and where you currently are. Most important out of these is to understand, how will I put it? There's somewhere in the Bible it says, guard your mind with what? Because, okay, so my interpretation of that is guard your mind with every single thing you can guard it with. Because that is where every single thing you deal with in life will come from. So to guard anything, if I ask you to give me ideas on, I want to guard my house, give me ideas of what I should do to guard my house, what would you suggest? Sorry? Security, CCTV, burglar proof, police, army, right? And insurance, yes. Now, guess what? OPC, yes. I do this a lot, and I get the same answers all the time. And the answers you give is a very important learning point to resilience. One of the first things you must do when you encounter anything is question it before you give an answer. Which of your answers is correct for me to guard my house against malaria? Will OPC help me against malaria? Will CCTV help me against flood? No. So when you are going to guard your mind, the very first thing is to understand what is the mind exposed to. One of the biggest things the mind is exposed to, believe it or not, is chemicals, specifically hormones. Everything you feel as a human being, love, hate, anger, joy, excitement, sadness, is a chemical reaction created within your body. And you need to remember that. Once you know that, and one of the most common hormones that affects us is anger, right? And I'll use anger. Anger is a combination of adrenaline, I think, and cortisol, right? Rage introduces testosterone into that. That cocktail, what it does first is that it shuts down your prefrontal cortex, which is the part of your brain that reasons. That's why when you hear of road rage, they've done things, and what they've done makes no sense. The secondary part is that they can come back and not remember what they've done. They're not lying. That is the job of that hormone, is so that it protects you. You don't have time to think. So it shuts down your thinking capacity. So when you apply this to financial resilience, it's understanding your emotions and making sure that, like my sister here said, feel them, but don't let them control you. So you are a human being. The emotions come, feel it, but understand the boundaries and know when to tell it to stop. Because when you take decisions in extreme anything, extreme joy, extreme fear, extreme sadness, your decision implies it did not involve your brain, and you're going to come out in trouble. So it's important to link the two. Your emotions, you feel them, but you don't let them control you. You know, when this, and it's all of that needs to be done with your understanding yourself. You know, this is who I am. And when you start doing things that are not you, if you're not a generous person, it's okay. When you start behaving very generous, you should be able to ask yourself, what is this person doing to me that is making me not be me? It's very, very important. So that's how all of those things tie in together, as briefly as I can put it.
In summary, what everybody has shared here is, one, information is important. Get as much information as you can. Two, you don't wait on it is raining for you to save or for you to prepare. You prepare before the rains come. Three, guard yourself and your mind with everything possible. There's a concept in psychiatry and psychology that we call the amygdala hijack. Now, the amygdala hijack is a part of your brain where you're supposed to reason before you act. And so when you act before reasoning, it is believed that your amygdala has been hijacked. And so it's important that when making decisions, right, you settle in, think first and ask yourself, what do I want to achieve from this? And of course, like they used to say, there's an adage in my language that says, "Okunu laving betita." It simply means that it is the strength that you have internally that propels you to act outwardly. Please jam your hands together for my panelists.